What's up, my vault dwellers? And look, I know what you're thinking. Greatest B movies, right? I mean, isn't that like saying finest gas station sushi? Well, this isn't about production values today or Oscar-worthy performances. This is about movies that grabbed my heart with their rubber-suited monster claws and refused to let go. So today, I'm going to share with you my personal Mount Rushmore of B movies. These are the films that I've watched more times than I can count, and they're the ones that make me laugh my ass off no matter how many times I see them. My criteria? Simple. Low budgets, absolute bonker plots, questionable acting that somehow works. Corn, suspend your disbelief, and let's celebrate the beautiful disasters that prove sometimes the best movies are the ones that just had no business being as entertaining as they are. We're going to get started with a movie about killer Jell-O from space. The Blob is essentially a feature-length argument why you should never poke strange meteorites. And this was starring a weirdly odd-looking teenager of Steve McQueen and what appears to be several gallons of dyed silicone just slowly consuming a small town. You know, the beauty of The Blob is it's its simplicity. It's literally just red goo eating people. But watching this amorphous mass like slowly ooze its way through town, getting bigger with every snack, it's somehow more entertaining than easily half of the CGI monsters you see made today.
Let me save you!
The effects team, they created the Blob's movement by just turning the camera upside down and letting gravity do the work. It's like watching a lava lamp gone homicidal. And the real star here, it's not McQueen, it's the Blob itself. You know, a monster that looks like what would happen if Fruit Punch gained sentience and decided it had to score a settle with humanity. You know, somehow between the earnest performances, the creative practical effects, and a theme song that's just gonna get stuck in your head for weeks, this movie rocks. I mean, this is a B-movie magic at its finest, where a movie about killer space Jell-O can actually make you nervous about that cup of the stuff in the back of your fridge.
No! Don't eat that!
54, where a plague of rabbits has been and still is a threat. Rabbits so numerous that they threaten man's existence by devouring his crops, killing animals, and
Nothing says horror quite like Killer Bunnies. Night of the Lepus, which stars Janet Leigh, or running from what are clearly irregular rabbits filmed in slow motion, just hopping around in miniature sets. This film treats the premise with, the same gravity as Jaws, which just makes it so much better. I mean, you haven't lived until you've seen trained rabbits covered in ketchup menacing the population while dramatic music plays. I mean, what makes this film so special is it's just the absolute conviction. Nobody, not the actors, not the directors, and not even the rabbits, winks at the camera. When the scientist gravely says, "Gentlemen, we have a problem of mammoth proportions," while staring at footage of bunnies wobbling through a model train set. And you know you're watching something magical.
Look at the bones! Go on, boss, chop its head off. Right.
Here's a movie that knows exactly what it is. It's a spoof of other B movies, but somehow became one of the greatest B movies ever made. I mean, it's got a killer musical number about tomatoes.
Attack of the killer tomatoes! Attack of the killer tomatoes!
It's got government conspiracies about produce. It's even got a scene where a tomato disguises itself as a human being. I mean, the special effects mostly consist of people throwing tomatoes at themselves and just run away from what appears to be beach balls painted red. Please, don't even get me started on the underwater tomato attack sequence, right?
What's to do? You cut yourself or something? Who's that yelling blue murder? Angus! You'd think you'd found the missing link or something.
Way before Hugh Grant was staring his way through romantic comedies, he was fighting a giant snake woman in what might be the most gloriously bonkers British horror film ever made. Ken Russell, he looked at the stuffy world of British period pieces and thought, you know what they need? A sexy vampire snake lady and just some truly deranged hallucination sequences. You know what makes this film B-movie perfection? It's how it managed to be simultaneously posh, yet just completely unhinged. You've got proper British Teton conversations interrupted by psychedelic visions of Roman orgies with giant snakes. Amanda Donahoe, she just struts through the movie like she's auditioning for, Royal Shakespeare Company and a monster movie at the same time. Plus, where else can you watch a young Hugh Grant battle ancient pagan snake gods while trying not to spill his tea? So the film, it treats absolute bonkers premise with the same gravity as a masterpiece theater production. And that's why it's absolutely brilliant.
A new American champion will be crowned for all the world to behold, in awe, in respect, in fear.
The master of B-movies, Roger Corman, showed us a future with David Carradine and leather outfits running over people for points, and it was glorious. I mean, this movie somehow manages to be better satire of reality television than anything made after reality TV was actually invented. You know what makes this film a masterpiece? It's not just the ridiculous car designs or over-the-top violence, which is all amazing. It's lines like,
"A beautiful kill, a neat kill, no calamities for Jane today."
While someone in a car that looks like it was just assembled from leftover props from the last movie, and then they run over a cardboard cutout. I mean, plus you get to see a young Sylvester Stallone playing the character named Machine Gun Joe Viterbo, which is exactly as amazing as it sounds.
It is extraterrestrial. Comes from outer space. From some godforsaken antimatter galaxy, millions and millions of light years from...
Behold, the greatest special effect in cinema history. It's a giant space bird that looks like Big Bird's evil cousin after a 3-day bender. The story goes that the filmmakers kept the monster design secret from the actors during the filming, which explains why the reactions of terror seem to transform into just confusion mid-scene. You know what makes this movie magical? It's the complete mismatch between the serious, military-heavy plot and what is clearly a giant puppet that would just get rejected from a children's TV show. The bird makes this weird squawking sound that sounds less like a terrifying space monster and more like someone stepping on a rubber duck. And yet the movie treats it with just complete seriousness.
I'll tear this thing apart with my bare hands!
Have you ever wondered what if the aliens looked like clowns and killed people with circus-themed weapons? Well, the answer to your question is pure B-movie perfection right here. Every weapon is a twisted carnival treat, like cotton and candy cocoons, popcorn guns, and balloons that are animal tracking dogs. I mean, even the clowns, that they look like what would happen if Rob Zombie designed for Ringling Brothers. And every death scene, it's both horrifying and hilarious. Every clown guy, it's turned into a weapon. Like, the whole thing is shot like a demented carnival fever dream. Plus, we get that immortal line,
What are you gonna do? Knock my block off?
followed by exactly that happening. Oh, by the way, speaking of knocking blocks off, if you're enjoying this twisted trip down memory lane, why don't you knock that like button for me? Then trust me, it hurts way less than cotton candy cocoons.
Here, if you want a good smoke, try one of these.
This film was originally made as a serious anti-marijuana film. Reefer Madness has evolved into perhaps one of the greatest unintentional comedies ever made. You know, one joint apparently turns you into a combination of Mozart, Jack the Ripper, and an interpretive dancer, all while sporting the widest eyes humanly possible. You know what makes this film a masterpiece? It's complete lack of self-awareness. I mean, the performances are cranked up to like 11, with every actor treating their role like they're in the most serious film ever made about the dangers of jazz cabbage. It's like watching a PSA directed by someone whose only knowledge of drugs came from reading Victorian novels about opium dens. I bet I know what drives you crazy, by the way. The fact that you all have some really insane B-movie recommendations that I haven't mentioned yet. Do me a favor, drop them in the comments below, because bonus points if they're absolutely terrible special effects and questionable acting choices. Just try to write them before the Reefer Madness kicks in.
Hurry to that marquee, Buffy!
She's loose!
This movie takes the classic tale of marital troubles between a husband and a wife and expands it to about 50 feet or so. Allison Hayes plays Nancy Archer, a woman who has a close encounter with an alien after her husband has special time with another woman. And then she grows to the size of a building, which honestly, it seems like a reasonable response to finding out your husband's cheating on you, right? The awesomely hilarious major sets or the visible strings holding up the giant hand props. I just love the fact that even at 50 feet tall, Nancy maintains perfect hair and makeup. The special effects might be questionable, but the emotional core of a woman who gets revenge on a cheating husband by becoming a giant, it's somehow both ridiculous and just completely satisfying.
Then let us begin.
This movie throws just everything at the wall and makes a beautifulness on it. So we've got sorority initiations, demonic bowling trophies, any excuse for young girls to be topless, an evil imp that looks like, it was designed by a metalhead who only had access to Feltons and googly eyes. And somehow, like I said, it all sticks. You know what makes this film a masterpiece? It's how it embraces its own absurdity. And you know where else can you watch college students battle an evil puppet? In a bowling alley, while delivering lines that sound like they were written by, throwing random words at a dartboard.
This could be a strike, it could be a strike. Oh, no, it looks like it's gonna be a cut ahead.
Just the imp itself deserves an Oscar for the most entertaining puppet that looks like it was made during detention.
What happened to my dress?
Oh my God, oh my dress, oh boo.
The mop boy. Can't even mop right.
He's so stupid.
Man, this movie came so close to being my number one. But Troma's magnum opus just gives us this 98-pound weakling who falls into toxic waste and becomes New Jersey's first superhero. It's like if Spider-Man, instead of being bitten by a radioactive spider, Peter Parker got dunked in a vat of nuclear waste and decided to clean up Hoboken.
My little Melvin. He must have finally reached puberty.
What makes Toxic special is how it perfectly balances genuine heart with just absolute bonkers violence and comedy. And in 1 minute you're watching a touching scene about acceptance, and the next you're watching a hero mop up crime, literally, with the bad guys. The practical effects are a beautiful disaster of melting faces and rubber suits. And the violence is so cartoonishly over the top. I mean, it loops back around to being hilarious, if you know what I mean.
Greetings, my friend. We are all interested in the future, for that is where you and I are going to spend the rest of our lives. And remember, my friend...
All right, here it is. Here's the number one, the Citizen Kane of B movies. Ed Wood's masterpiece. It has everything. It's got aliens concerned about humans and nuclear weapons, vampires, zombies, and footage of Bela Lugosi that was filmed for a completely different movie just before he died. The spaceships, I think they're hubcaps, the tombstones, they wobble when people touch them. And the dialogue sounds like it was written by an alien trying to understand human speech through radio static. But, Plan 9, it's the greatest B movie ever made. I mean, it's just the pure, undiluted passion behind it. Ed Wood, he loved making movies more than he was good at making them. And the love just shines through with every terrible special effect and every nonsensical plot point and every piece of dialogue that just sounds like it was translated to Sanskrit and back again.
Eros, the Earth people are getting closer to that which we fear. Since they will not listen or respect our existence, they cannot help but believe our powers when they see their own dead walking.
The movie's got its flying saucers that, we can see the strings and a substitute for Bela Lugosi, who's about a foot taller and covers his face with a cape. And yet, somehow, it's more entertaining than just about every big budget film in the last 10 years. It's the ultimate example of reaching for the stars, hitting yourself in the face, but doing it with such enthusiasm you can't help but get applause. These movies remind us why we fell in love with cinema in the first place. I mean, they're not about perfect special effects or award-winning performances. They're about the joy of storytelling. And no matter how ridiculous the story might be, right? I mean, whether it's giant rabbits terrorizing fake towns, or killer tomatoes doing secret ice swimming, or aliens raising the dead to stop humanity from creating a doomsday weapon that may or may not exist. These films dare to drain big on small budgets, so you can keep your CGI blockbusters and your Oscar bait. Just give me rubber monsters, visible strings, and actors who commit completely to fighting killer vegetables any day of the week. These movies proved that sometimes the greatest art came from having more imagination than money. So just go grab your popcorn, leave your logic at the door, and remember, B movies, no one can hear your laugh. Unless you're watching Toxic Avenger. Then just laugh as loud as you want, and keep it weird, folks.
The incidents, the places. My friend, we cannot keep this a secret any longer. Let us punish the guilty. Let us reward the innocent. My friend, can your heart stand the shocking facts about grave robbers from outer space?